Hello everybody! If you have found yourself here, congratulations, like you're in for such a crazy ride. Welcome back to me and my crazy wall. My name is Allie, not Bob. I know I look like Bob the Builder. The hammer will be explained expeditiously. What are we doing today, you might ask? Oh my gosh. 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 I'm so excited. I need to stop waving this around like it's not real. This is real. Basically, if you don't know anything about me, I've done a couple of chronic reader deep dives on my channel in the past. And in one of my last videos, I got a comment from somebody named Anissa Ismail. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. And they said, more reader deep dives, please. I said, perfect. An excuse to do whatever I want on the internet. Just what I've been waiting for. Because I was going on request for this, I decided to take some creative liberties and move on from authors and into entire genres. Is this a smart idea? Honestly, not really. A lot of the times when I was researching, I just got this like feeling in the pit of my stomach, like, Allie, what qualifications do you have to be telling anybody what a genre is? But I escaped my self-doubt and now we're here. A couple of housekeeping things before we get started on this autopsy, if you will. First of all, OOTD, what am I wearing? Let's start with the hammer, why don't we? Because she's a really important part of the outfit. Hammer from my dad, and also the brand Stanley, because apparently I'm just like super bougie. Doesn't that feel like really fancy? I don't know. Anyways, anytime I'm holding the hammer, it's because I'm saying something super important. So if you see me and you see her, quiet coyote babe, there's something important going on. Next, what am I wearing? Ooh. I need to stop doing like the sound effects. I'm wearing a hoodie of sorts. It's like a blanket hoodie and it has cats on it. It having cats on it, part of the theme, okay, I swear, will be explained also expeditiously. But for now, I'm gonna give you a turn because this is my runway. This is all that I get. I'm sorry. I hope that was worth it because that was kind of hard to coordinate with like the setup that I have going on. Filming these alone is one of the most humbling experiences of my life. And I wish that there was somebody here with me and I wasn't alone in my dining room talking to a camera with crazy things on my wall, but here we are again. I'm nothing if not a creature of habit. Anyways, OOTD, where did I get this from? Where can you get yours? Basically, the company Oodie, which is hoodie but without the H, because if you can spell a word with 6 letters, why not just spell it with 5? I say. They reached out to me and wanted to send me something to dress me for one of these videos. If you're shocked, trust that I was way more shocked than you that they wanted to do this. For little old me in front of my crazy wall, I honestly can't even believe it. It's really weird. So then I was like, oh my gosh, perfect. I get to choose from all of their Oodie options and pick something that's on theme, which is exactly what I did, which was super hard because they have a lot of options. I could have done a lot of things, okay? But I went for something feline. If you've already read Romantasy, you know why this is important. I actually need to be stopped. Okay. Anyways, so if you want to twin with me, which you totally should, or if you want something to read your romantasies in, you want something to read your romantasies on, go to the link in my description and use code AllieMcClanahan15 for 15% off, because if you like reading, you probably also like saving money because you're smart. Anyways, shout out to Oodie. You guys are so kind and incredible, and you make really insanely comfortable merchandise that is also super cute, so that's crazy. Okay, DOTD, drink of the day. This is not sponsored, which is unfortunate. Poppy, if you want to reach out to me, please, I can't keep spending money on these. Okay, I know this is what we've all been waiting for. If you don't know, I'm also a part-time ASMR channel. Ooh. I low-key like am getting better at that. Maybe I like should start an ASMR channel. Refreshing. This is not my favorite flavor. My favorite flavor is the grape one, but they stopped selling the grape packs at Sam's Club. So, okay, WOTD, wall of the day. This time, my printer did actually run out of ink, and I did have to pay money to have these printed out at my local Walgreens. So, if you see something and think, that's so weird, like you look at this bat and think, wow, that's so weird, just know that you're not the only one, and you can join in this belief with the worker at Walgreens who was forced to print this out on their shift. During this autopsy, we'll be doing a couple things. I'll be explaining my history with the romantasy genre, what the romantasy genre is, why it's so popular, my hot takes, of course, because I can't leave an opinionated stone unturned, apparently. And then, finally, as a grand finale, I'm going to be categorizing some of the most popular romantasies that I've read into 2 sections. First, I actually am so scared of like sending my hammer through the wall. Up top here, I don't know if you guys know who this is, but that is Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, wearing a crown, because I felt like I had to give him some kind of decorum. Some of the books are going to get Jon Snow stickers. This means that they are so monumental, moved so many mountains on this dear planet Earth, that they need to be adapted by HBO. And HBO's the only HBO's the only platform that can do this. I also just really wanted to put Kit Harington on my wall. Okay, next, the Gmail logo. If a book gets this, it could have been an email and should be in my spam folder. Okay, I feel a lot like Martin Luther when he nailed his 95 Theses onto the door. Sorry, I know what I'm talking about, I swear. Because I'm just like waving this around, believing a lot of things and saying a lot of things and doing it with so much passion. Anyways, let's get this show to the road, shall we? Chapter 1. What on earth is my background with romantasy and what has brought us here today? To explain the absolute love and passion that I have for this genre, I'm going to read you off a list of all of the romantic... Parched. I'm going to read you off a little list of all of the romantasies that I've ever read. I'll speed this up. Ready, set, go. That's 40, and then I'm in the middle of 3 right now. A Song to Drown Rivers, Quicksilver, and Heartless Hunter. Important things about this list that some of you might be asking. Allie, where's like Throne of Glass? Or where's Shadow and Bone? Where are these classic things that people may be considering romantasies? I'm gonna hold the hammer when I say this to you, because this is super important to like get your understanding baseline. A romantasy is a fantasy, obviously, but the romance is a super important part of the plot. The romance must be fantastic. Also, the men are so specifically romantasy men. More on this topic later. On to our next section. What elements can we find in romantasies, and why are the books on the wall behind me romantasies? I'm so glad you asked. The first thing, and arguably one of the most important things, hammer. My bad. I give you the shadow daddy phenomenon. Explaining this in a way that doesn't sound really silly is moderately impossible, so please bear with me. Basically, a common thread found in a lot of these books, not all of them, but a lot, is that the male main character can only be described as a shadow daddy. This term, rather than trying to explain this to you in some way that likely won't make sense because I'm not extraordinarily eloquent, as you can probably tell, I'm just going to read you some examples from some of the books behind me about how they describe the men. First example, Blood and Ash. Okay, for a quick little blurb and insight into from Blood and Ash so that you have some background when you hear these examples. Lucy Tonks on Goodreads, because everything I get is from Goodreads. It's my Google. Describes this book in a few short words. Poppy is the maiden. From birth, she's lived a very solitary life. She's waiting for her ascension when she would much rather spend her time with her guards. The entire kingdom's future rests on Poppy's shoulders. But of course, when Hawk, this mysterious guard, comes into her life, she starts doing everything she was told not to do. A fallen kingdom starts rising once more, trying to claim what they believe belongs to them, and Poppy makes some discoveries, making her world start to unravel. That's the vibe, basically. Now, what makes Hawk, with an E, a shadow daddy? Let me tell you. Hawk faced me, one hand on the hilt of a short sword, and the flipping in my chest doubled. His face was so strikingly pieced together, from the wide set of his lips, the upward slant of his eyebrows, to the shadowy hollows under his high, broad cheekbones. He could have been the muse for the paintings that hung in the city's Athenaeum. I lost both of them, he said, his eyes shadowed, but gaze no less powerful. Okay. Example 3. This one is really so interesting. You have no idea what I'm used to. That was true. I stared at the shadowy shape of his hand. For such rough, calloused hands, his fingers were rather long and graceful. Digits that belonged to an artist and not a guard. A killer. What makes the shape of somebody's hand shadowy? Like, genuinely, I'm asking. Anyways, okay, on to the next. Fourth wing, blurb from Ikra on Goodreads. It's about the daughter of a high-ranked general, Violet, getting ordered into learning how to become a dragon rider, but she doesn't initially want to because all she's known are books her entire life. And so she commits to Basgiath War College, where she goes through trials designed to root out the weak. She's to figure out how to best everyone and weaponize her strengths, while navigating her feelings for a certain forbidden boy. There's romance and, back-arching, spice with sparks and tension galore. Also, for everyone wondering, the ending isn't that bad. It's more of a promising cliffhanger. Makes you feel hopeful rather than wanting to crash and burn everything in your line of sight. LMAO. Yeah. For this one and her shadow daddy, I just want to point your attention to the fact that there are 99 uses of the word shadow in this book. 99. Which, to be fair, it's because the shadow daddy in this has like actual shadow powers, but I'm just saying, the shadow daddy phenomena is becoming a sort of plague, and we should honestly be like watching out. Let me guess. You could smell my perfume. Isn't that what always gives the heroine away in books? He scoffs. I command shadows, but sure, it was your perfume that gave you away. Do you love my shadow daddy voice? Say yes. My breath abandons me with a sharp exhale. He has the kind of power that could end me without him having to do so much as lift a finger. Shadow wielding. The futility of even trying to defend myself against him is laughable. It's just like so funny. My gaze swings up to clash with his, but his face is unreadable, cloaked in shadow. Go figure. You're lucky I'm not reading all 99 of them. Did I read all 99 of them to pick what I think are the best ones? Yes. Next, Powerless. Oh my gosh. Powerless follows a girl named Peyton. Fantasy names are just so funny to me. Like, literally, what even is this combination of consonants and vowels? I just don't understand. Anyways, Peyton lives in a world where you have to have powers, and she doesn't have powers. So she pretends to have powers when she runs into the prince, Kaiazer. God, he's not the prince. He's like the executioner or something. Because of course he is. Of course he kills lots of people. Anyways, when he runs into her, stuff happens. Basically, she has to go to this, like, Hunger Games vibe trial and continue to pretend that she has powers when she doesn't, all while continuing to pretend that she hates Kai when she doesn't. We're all shocked. Anyways, shadows. My gaze finds... The voices I'm choosing for these. My gaze finds Kai's again, his eyes bright against in the moon. What does that mean? His eyes bright against in the moonlight. Did I just find a typo? That has to be a typo. Anyways, his eyes bright against in the moonlight and smoldering like smoke from a fire. A muscle ticks in his jaw. His hands twitch at his sides. I give him a single slow nod. And then he's striding towards us, shadows clinging to his silhouette. I look over at his shadowy profile as he stares at the branches above us. To talk, to lay here in silence. He shrugs lazily. It doesn't really matter. Okay, next. The Cruel Prince. I'm just going to read you the little synopsis straight off of Goodreads because, mic drop, it eats. Of course I want to be like them. They're beautiful as blades forged in some divine fire. They will live forever. And Carden is even more beautiful than the rest. I hate him more than all the others. I hate him so much that sometimes when I look at him, I can hardly breathe. Are you guys feeling parched? Because me personally, I've never been more thirsty. The Cruel Prince, honestly, he's not the best example of a shadow daddy, and I'm reaching. But whatever, I'm sorry. His black hair falls in opulent curls around his cheeks. The shadows bring out the sharpness of his bones, the length of his lashes, the merciless beauty of his face. The merciless beauty of his face? Bro, my head is in the clouds. This next example from Cruel Prince doesn't say shadows, but it exudes the energy that shadow daddies exude. He tips his head back, looking at me through dark lashes. Maybe living together is the reason we don't get on. For some reason, in romantasies, men will always be looking at you through their dark lashes and then give you a lazy grin. I don't make the rules. I'm a victim, honestly, at this point of these men. So this one is really intense. So, Hammer. Stop meowing. Okay. A Court of Thorns and Roses, aka Shadow Daddy Central. A Court of Thorns and Roses is about this girl named Feyre, and she's forced to leave her home to save her parents because she accidentally kills a wolf. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it's honestly, like, the spoilers for it are crazy, so you just have to, like, read it. I'm sorry. The snow was falling, thick and merciless, already up to my knees as I pulled the bowstring back, farther and farther, until my arm trembled. Behind me, a shadow lurked. No, watched. Like, okay. When he watches you while you're hunting, Rhysand's moon-white skin began to darken into nothing but shadow. Like, literally, what does that mean? I feel as though you're beginning to pick up on the intricacies of the shadow daddy phenomenon and how they give authors room for excuses to completely disregard the rules of grammar or imagery, because they want to use the word shadow to describe this man so badly. Rest up, Feyre, Rhysand said. He turned into nothing more than living shadow and vanished through a crack in the door. God, these just keep going. He vanished into shadow before I could launch myself at him. I looked out towards the mountains again, considering, and maybe it was because there was no one else to hear. Maybe it was because the shadows in his eyes would also be forever in mine. Well, goodbye for now, he said, rolling his neck as if we hadn't been talking about anything important at all. He bowed at the waist, those wings vanishing entirely, and had begun to fade into the nearest shadow when he went rigid. Honestly, I feel like that really spoke for itself. So, let's move on. Number 2 in our elements of a romantasy, and also in what I'm wearing. Felines! I'm also gonna sound crazy when I explain this, but sorry. In romantasies, specifically, for some reason, these men will be described as though they are cats. To romantasy authors, there's just something so attractive about cats. I don't understand. Look at her. She's done nothing to deserve this. And I'm gonna fall for it every time. I'm going to eat it like it's the Last Supper. So, example time. From Blood and Ash, we know her, we love her, #Hawk. He pivoted and strode forward with the same kind of feline grace I'd seen from him before. Okay, next, Lightlark. I wish that I could personally summarize this to you myself, but I really honestly remember nothing about it. So, the Goodreads synopsis. Welcome to the Centennial. Every 100 years, the island of Lightlark appears to host the Centennial, a deadly game that only the rulers of the 6 realms are invited to play. The invitation is a summons, a call to embrace victory and ruin, baubles and blood. The Centennial offers the 6 rulers one final chance to break the curses that have plagued their realms for centuries. Each ruler has something to hide. Each realm's curse is uniquely wicked. To destroy the curses, one ruler must die. Isla Crown is the young ruler of Wildling, a realm of temptresses cursed to kill anyone they fall in love with. Because, of course she is. They're feared and despised and are counting on Isla to end their suffering by succeeding at the Centennial. Yeah. Okay, let's get into it. You're feeling confident, Heart Eater. Grim purred. That's the example. That's all I have the energy to give right now. Next, Once Upon a Broken Heart. It's a Hammer book, so you know what's up. Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber is monumental. How do I explain this? I'm not gonna try. For as long as she can remember, Evangeline Fox has believed in true love and happy endings, until she learns that the love of her life will marry another. Desperate to stop the wedding and to heal her wounded heart, Evangeline strikes a deal with the charismatic but wicked Prince of Hearts. In exchange for his help, he asks for 3 kisses, to be given at the time and place of his choosing. But after Evangeline's first promised kiss, she learns that bargaining with an immortal is a dangerous game, and that the Prince of Hearts wants far more from her than she pledged. He has plans for Evangeline, plans that will either end in the greatest happily ever after, or the most exquisite tragedy. God. Delicious, scrumptious. Okay, this section is not supposed to be opinionated. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyways, cats. You're staring again, he purred. I understand what the author is saying, but also the literal visual of him being like, you're staring again. Like, is that not a little off-putting? I don't know. Next, A Court of Thorns and Roses. This book is also an extraordinarily prominent victim of felines and feline behaviors apparently overtaking these men. I ignored Rhysand as soon as I noticed his feline smile, the corona of darkness around him. Also, shout out to the corona of darkness around him, because literally what? Stimulating. Rhysand purred. Rhysand smiled at me. You're welcome, he purred as I walked out. What? Is he clawing at the couch while you're leaving the room? Is he? That's a wrap on our second token of fantasy men. Last, but absolutely not least. This one, I would say, is true for 100% of the romantasies that I've read. If there is a man and he is a love interest in a romantasy, he will be outrageously large. So, defying laws of human beings. He's not even a human being at this point. He's a Greek god. First example, Shatter Me. What is Shatter Me about, do you ask? There's this girl named Juliet, and she's in prison because the reestablishment, which is like this dystopian government thing, locked her up for murder because when she touches people, they die. Anyways, that's our girl. Okay, who's our man? Unimportant what his name is, what I can describe to you is how large he is. So let's go. He walks up to me until there's less than a foot of space between us. His height and build make me feel like a fallen twig. A fallen twig. Next, fourth wing. Good gods, I don't even reach his collarbone. He's massive. He has to be more than 4 inches over 6 feet tall. Has to be. Gotta. Also, a special note on this that has just been something plaguing my mind recently. POV. There's a fantasy world in your mind. You're picturing it in the forefront, beautiful trees, beautiful men, blah, blah, blah. There's no way on earth that they're not using the metric system. No way. If only America and 2 other small countries, I think, are using feet and inches in this world, if we were in a completely other world, odds are they are not using the United States customary units, right? Right? Anyways, that's just like been on my mind lately. Moving on. Okay, Once Upon a Broken Heart. He's large, obviously. This close, he was undeniably attractive and taller than she'd realized. He gave her a real smile, revealing a pair of dimples that briefly made him look more angel than devil. Next example. If I stay with you, I have a few rules. She finally pulled away from Jax and stood up to face him. Even though he sat, he was so tall that she did not manage to tower over him. I also just have to read the next part because this just like makes it so much better. The 2 of them would never be equal. He would always have more power than she did. So him being outrageously large doubles as a metaphor for their power imbalance. This is somehow romantic. I'm not saying this as criticism. Genuinely, like, I find it romantic. I don't know how. Powerless. Kai. We remember. It's a good thing he's so bleeding tall, or I would have lost him in the swarm of people. Good thing. Good thing. Next. Bride, which we haven't talked about yet. So, let's. This is a urban fantasy, which means that they have, like, normal world things, and she's a scientist and blah blah blah. She is a vampire forced to marry into a werewolf pack to gain alliances or whatever, and he's the alpha because of course he is. Sorry, I know I keep saying that, but like it's are you seeing the like picture that I'm painting? My eyes are immediately drawn to him, maybe because he's ... well, big in italics. Most wares are tall or athletic or both, but Lowe takes it a notch further. Still, I'm not positive his looks are what center him so insistently. He is taking it a notch further. He's not even tall. No. He's some undescribed adjective that is somehow taller than tall. We did it. Those are the examples that I had. Before we leave this lovely section of the video that has been personally so much fun, I want to make a little dedicated side note on something that could also be considered a phenomena in these romances, and that is the rodent population. It doesn't just exist in your gutters, it exists in the pages of these romantasies. Frequently. I give you one. Oh yes, we're getting to the bat on the wall that the lady at Walgreens had to print out. I know you're excited. He is a bat. Not just in the way that he's described bat-like, like with the cats. He is legitimately winged in the way of a bat. And it is attractive. It's somehow incredibly enticing to so many readers of the romantasy genre, including but not limited to me. Next rodent example, because yes, there's a next one. Shocking. I can't even believe that this is like true. The Cruel Prince. In other words, this little guy that the lady at Walgreens also had to print out. He has a tail. God, there's just no way to justify this. He just has like a tail and it has like a tuft of hair on the end. Like this little rat. I fear that authors, when they decide to add the body parts of rodents to their men, are thinking that I won't pull up receipts. Are thinking that they're safe. You are not. Because when you describe him to have a tail with a tuft of hair, babe, this is what you're saying. Look at what you've done. And shame on you for making me like it. Shame on you for forcing me to say that I am a person who is in love with a man with a rat tail. Moving on, sadly. So now that we've talked about this a little bit, why is romantasy so popular? Why are there so many intriguing characteristics that hypothetically should make the genre weird and not mainstream, yet the genre is still mainstream? God, I'm so thirsty. Literally, figuratively, whatever, you know the vibe. I've deduced that this comes down to one overwhelming reason above all others. Dating in 2024 is truly so atrocious for particularly women that they are running to the oasis of fictional, rodent-like, feline men because they will treat them better than men in their general area. For example, a man in your general vicinity that you're going to find on a dating app, it's Chad. He likes bass fishing. He's 5'8". No, he's not. He's 5'6", probably. And he's here for a good time, not a long time. And his biggest regret is shaving his mullet. Let's take him. In comparison with these men, sure, he has a rat tail, but he would never fish bass. Sure, he has membranous wings, but he would never tell you, babe, no, like, you don't understand, like, I was supposed to be, like, D1. Never. He would never. That's all I'm saying. And also, an important note on what makes these different than, like, regular romances. I feel like the men in these are just elite in comparison. Like, in a regular romance, they can face issues like you're kidnapped by a mafia boss. Like, common day issues. Or, like, struggling to find a job in this economy. But here, he will leave hundreds, thousands of bodies in his wake because somebody looked at you wrong. Obviously, in practice, in the real world, this isn't okay. I'm not horrible. I'm ethical most of the time. But on the pages of a book, perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. For this next section, sorry if things look slightly different. My camera is exhausted, so she died. We're moving on to my opinions. Preface, if I hate a book that you loved, I don't hate you, babe. Love you with all my heart. I'm so happy that you found personal joy in something that I believe was awful and mentally took everything out of me. I'm happy for you. You don't hate me if you hate a book that I love. So yeah, let's not hate on me in the comments about it. Am I open to critiques? Potentially. Say it kindly. You know, use a little emoji after every mean thing you say. That's fine. I'll take it. I'm a big girl. Let's start. I'm gonna rotate. We're gonna start with an HBO. Let's start with the most obvious. A Court of Thorns and Roses. Duh. It was actually supposed to be adapted by Hulu. Sorry, I'm holding this weird. God. And it got canceled because of COVID / the writer's strike. I'm not sure I remember. But I'm actually really excited it got canceled because I unironically want HBO to pick it up. I think they would do so good. For this one, I'm not going to talk about my thoughts on on the first one super in depth because, again, like I said, spoilers are crazy for this. I will read you my review of the second book, A Court of Mist and Fury. I gave it 5 stars, obviously, and said, like, and hear me out, Sarah J. Maas could have written War and Peace, but Leo Tolstoy could not have written A Court of Mist and Fury. OMFG. Yep, stand by that. I won't be accepting comments on that at this time. A note on A Court of Thorns and Roses. If you're trying to get into romantasy and you've only ever read romance, start with this. It's very, very heavy on the romance and really eases you into the world building. Next, let's do an email. First email. Let's start out strong, shall we? From Blood and Ash. I didn't like this book for a couple reasons. It could be personal because lots of people love it. I hate the beginning. I think it gets started too fast. I found it super predictable, and I'm super mad that it got nominated for the Goodreads Choice Awards. I'm just petty like that. So, of course, things like that influenced my opinion. Sorry, not sorry. Spam, junk, I don't care. Could have been done in the inbox. Next. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? None of us are surprised. This is one of my favorite books of all time. When I read the first kiss scene in this book, my brain genuinely folded over and threw up. I think Jude is one of the most elitely written characters ever, and Carden, Ratman, is right up there with her. The characterization, me talking like I just like know things about books, was done so well. Anyways, email. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? I don't remember it at all. Not even the main character's name, okay? Most of the time when I read books, even if I like it, I don't really remember it afterwards because just a girl. But this one, like, seriously nothing. So forgettable. Okay, next. Shatter Me. Exactly what this book did to me. I think the first book isn't as good as the rest of the series, but you need to continue for the rest of the series. And it gets extraordinarily elite. And I need the man in it to be cast by HBO. Next email. I did that one fast because I want to get this over with. I liked Fourth Wing, the first one. I think the second one is extraordinarily convoluted, and we're getting to a point in the story where I can't believe that there's 3 more books left. And I've been having a problem lately where I feel like romantasy authors are scared that their TikTok girl audience has too short of an attention span, so they make sure that the main couple gets together super early on. It's boring, I don't like it, and yeah. Next, my camera dying again, and we're gonna press on. I know that this is kind of controversial, but I really liked it, and I really liked the second one. And is it a copy of so many things that we've seen before in romantasy? Yes. Does it do that really well? Also, yes. Another man that needs the aid of a casting director to bring him to life. Next. Who's our last email? Come on. Come on. Sorry. If he's a werewolf, he should not have a cell phone. If you call him Alpha, he should not have a cell phone. That's all I'm going to say about that. Which leaves us with our last one. I just really loved it. Me reviewing books. Yeah, I just really liked it. Girl, give us anything, give us anything. I don't know. It's a feeling deep in the pits of my soul. Instinctual, primal. I'm sorry. There's no other way I can describe it. So that's all you get. After my camera dying 3 times, me filming this twice, because yes, this is a second time, and me making one insanely good fashion choice, we've made it to the end. Congratulations if you watched this whole thing. I hope it was informative. I hope it was fun. Shocked I didn't send this through my wall, right? Right? Aren't we so impressed? Yeah, if you want a twin, go to the link in my description. If you want this hammer, I don't know where my dad got it. It, I think, is older than me, so have so much fun reading the fantasy books I recommended. This is low-key a good brush. Not that I recommended any ones that aren't super popular. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'm on Instagram, Pinterest, Goodreads. Obviously, please friend me on Goodreads. That's it. I had so much fun hanging out with you. And him. From me and my crazy wall, we love you. Bye.